Hey guys, are you a student who just got your acceptance letter into dental hygiene school? If so, listen up here. I have created a 6 episode limited series podcast. It's called Dental Hygiene Student Starting Strong. It's all the information that I wish someone had told me when I was starting dental hygiene school. It's everything that you need to know to get yourself off on the right foot when you start the program. Go to Spotify or Apple, wherever you listen, and just type in Dental Hygiene Student Starting Strong, and you'll find that podcast limited series made just for you. Go give it a listen. Bye, guys. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the Happy Flosser podcast. This podcast is intended to help you breathe a little deeper, think a little clearer, and feel a little less alone in this wild world called dental hygiene school. I'm your host, Billie, and today we are diving into something that every student experiences, but almost no one talks about out loud. It is called the hidden curriculum. And I thought of this when I was looking at the new ADIA compendium that came out. So we've been waiting for a new compendium. So for those of you students that don't know, the compendium is kind of like the written Bible of all of the things, all of the components of the dental hygiene curriculum, all the things that you need to cover in the curriculum in order to meet CODA accreditation standards. And so when I just got my new curriculum, my new compendium, I was kind of sifting through it and reading through it and looking at all the things. And I thought, there is a hidden curriculum in dental hygiene school. It's like this unspoken thing for students. It's unspoken expectations, emotional labor, and this invisible thing of skill development that helps shape your success just as much as instrumentation, as radiographs, or even charting ever will. And I promise you, once you see that hidden curriculum, you can't unsee it. But if you haven't really thought about it or considered it, you don't really recognize it's there until someone like me comes along and tells you. So, what is the hidden curriculum? All right, the hidden curriculum is everything that's not in the compendium. It's everything that you're expected to know, to feel, to manage, or to navigate without anyone ever actually teaching it to you. It's like life skills, I guess, for lack of a better word. It's the stuff between the lines, the like unwritten rules of dental hygiene school. It's kind of like emotional gymnastics, if you will, the figure it out moments that shape your confidence more than any grade or assessment or competency ever will. So students tell me all the time how emotionally tough and how rigorous the program is, and how after a clinic session, they just feel like completely empty sometimes, or they feel like they have to learn how to navigate for themselves without it feeling difficult, or how to take feedback or constructive criticism from a faculty or a teammate without taking it personal, or how to manage the pressure of being watched or evaluated and graded in real time in that moment without really any idea of how to study for something like that, or how to stay human while learning a profession that demands perfection when none of us have perfection, right? And here's the truth, guys. You're not struggling because you're unprepared. You're struggling, and dental hygiene school is hard because you're literally learning two curriculums at the same time. So one of those curriculums is that official curriculum charged by the compendium and developed by programs to meet CODA standards. And then the hidden curriculum is all of those life skills, all of the transformational things that have to happen to you in order for you to become the dental hygienist. And if we think about it, there is an emotional side to the program, the part that doesn't really show up on your syllabus, but absolutely shows up in your body. Dental hygiene school is going to ask you to be calm while you're anxious, to be confident while you're learning, to be gentle while you are incredibly stressed, to be professional in a moment where you're incredibly overwhelmed, and to be perfect while you're still being human. And that's a lot, right? Emotional labor is real. So think about the emotional labor of being a dental hygienist for a second. So managing a patient who's late, anxious, or uncooperative, right there, that is such an emotional drain suck on us, all of us. And it's stuff that you really can't explain to other people. It's just part of the profession. And that can be so hard to learn, that emotional labor and how to manage that emotional labor, because our patients come in and if they're late, it creates so much additional stress for us. And they don't really realize that. Once they're there and they're no longer late, their stress is gone. And it becomes our stress for the whole time that they're there. If they show up late and now they're no longer stressed because they've made it, but they're an anxious patient, not only are we managing the emotional labor of the fact that they were late, but now we have to manage the emotional labor of dealing with their anxiety or their uncomfortableness or their frequency of bathroom trips and all the things that really put barriers between what we're hoping to achieve and how they are showing up. That is an emotional labor that comes with skill development, skill acquisition as a dental hygiene student. And it can be really hard. So if you're managing a patient who's late, anxious, or just completely out of hand, that could create so much stress for you. Never mind that we're asking you to navigate all different types of faculty with all different types of personalities that have all different types of expectations. Even though I promise you guys, we try really hard to calibrate on all the things that we're teaching you. But at the end of the day, we're human beings too. We all have different things that we consider to be the most important, and that can be hard to navigate. That's emotional labor for you as a student. And then this is the one I see on reflection logs all the time. So I have to bring this one up. So balancing your speed and your thoroughness. So sometimes a student will get, really down in the dumps for how slow they are, and they just want to get faster, get faster. And so sometimes when they start getting faster and they rush, they make a lot more errors, they make a lot more mistakes. And so that can be a really tough emotional labor to navigate, to like get yourself so that you are balancing that speed and your thoroughness at the same time. And I got to tell you, when you feel behind, that is an emotional labor of holding yourself together, because sometimes we just want to crumble under the stress of that feeling being behind, whether that's behind with the clock with a single patient or behind with like requirements and skill acquisition. All of these different things can, and they could all be going on at the same time for you as a student. But this is what I want you to think about. All of these different aspects, and having to smile through self-doubt. That's that's an emotional labor. Let's not forget about that one. All of these things can be incredibly taxing on you. But what I want you to do as a student is to try to reframe the way you're looking at that emotional labor, because it's not a weakness, guys, and you're building it every single day. It's a clinical skill. Honestly, emotional labor is part of that unwritten curriculum that builds your clinical skills. Because the reality is, you are always going to have patients who show up late, anxious, and they're not always showing up as their best selves in the dental chair. You are always going to have to balance speed and toughness and thoroughness. You're going to have to always hold yourself together, even when you're behind. And you are going to always have to smile through self-doubt. That's just part of being a dental hygienist. And it's weird. People don't really articulate it or talk about it in a way that I think we need to. And that is part of the unwritten curriculum, like the hidden curriculum that is literally part of being a dental hygienist. So That's why you can ask a hygienist one day if they love being a hygienist, and they may say, no, I do not. Thank you for asking today. And you could ask them the next day, and they've had like this heartfelt conversation, or they felt like they've made a difference, or they've impacted somebody's world in a positive way. And they could say it was the best decision they ever made was becoming a hygienist. And that is because of the emotional labor that's involved with being a dental hygienist, kind of in between the lines, the stuff you don't see built into the schedule. That is all real, guys. That is the stuff that we're made of. That's why when I say this is a journey of self-discovery, when you start the program, it's not just about learning knowledge and skill acquisition, it's about becoming that person who can handle that emotional labor that takes place in and outside of the operatory. And another hidden skill, guys, I have to mention is learning how to read a room. I gotta tell you, I have met a lot of grown-up people that do not know how to read a room. And sometimes I'm not good at reading a room either. So there's that. But I will tell you, one of the things you can do as a student is to ask yourself like targeted questions. If you know that about yourself, maybe that's a weakness of yours that you're not good at reading a room. Um, well, let me give you a couple of like questions you can ask yourself when you're in clinic to kind of help you scan the room and think of things. If you figure out which faculty you're working with, what does that faculty member prioritize? What classes do they teach? That's going to help you figure out what they really prioritize. They usually focus on the content that they are in charge of. And what does the patient need emotionally speaking? Does that patient, what type of communication skills does that patient have, and what are they going to need from you? And what is the energy of clinic today? You know how, like, every day when you go into clinic, it's a completely different vibe? Some days are, what's the music that's playing, right? So that might help you figure out what that vibe is when you read the room of your clinic day, because it is different every single time you go in there. And honestly, the next question you could ask yourself is, what is our my safest next step here, either with the faculty, with the patient, or with your own like, what's your next move, right? And this is like a cognitive load that you have to develop on top of your clinical load. And that's why you feel tired. Even on days when you didn't see like a full patient day, even on days when you're like the clinical assistant, or maybe you had like an easier day, you still feel incredibly tired by the end of the day because you're constantly reading the room. You're constantly reading the energy of clinic. And that can be exhausting. But here's the empowering part, guys. Reading a room is literally professional intuition. And intuition for yourself. Some people just naturally have this intuitive like trend about themselves. I have a colleague that I work with. Her name is Lisa Centrella. She is like the most intuitive person I've ever met. And she'll say things sometimes and I'm just like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so far behind. Where have I been?" That's where I know that this is an area that I need to work on, right? So intuition is built through repetition, through reflection and experience, not perfection. And so sometimes you have to repeat something over and over and over before you figure it out. Sometimes you have to reflect and say, "Oh, how did I miss that?" Or "I read that wrong. How did I even come to that conclusion?" Right? And so you can build your professional intuition with practice. Okay, so there's hope for some of us. Okay, guys, some of us it just is like built into who we literally are. So hang out with people like that because they're going to help you, number one, self-identify whether or not you have that professional intuition. And they're actually going to help you build that skill just by watching them and how they kind of see the world. So just hang out with people that like you want to emulate and be like, and that's going to go a long way. So find your classmates that have that skill already built and lean on them for that support. And then, oh, can we just dismiss this one myth I just want to share? Because this kind of clogs up a lot of energy for you guys. And it's the myth that you should already know everything. Let's just take that one away. You actually shouldn't. You're in school to learn, right? So that hidden curriculum, it makes you feel like if you ask a question in class that you don't know, that you're weak or something, or needing clarification means that you're like behind everyone else. Can I just tell you that is not true? Or sometimes students feel like if they don't understand something immediately, it means that they shouldn't be a dental hygienist. I'm like, that is so far from the truth. For some of us, we need repeated exposure to content before we even remotely understand the significance of it. So don't allow yourself to have those types of conversations with yourself in your head. So I have a student ask a question in classroom. This is what I see. Curiosity is competence, right? Questions, that provides us with clinical safety. It gives faculty the opportunity to give you clarification. And clarification is professionalism. It's good to ask clarifying questions. If you guys knew everything already, you would not be a student. You would be what we call a licensed dental hygienist. So just calm down and let that go, okay? And letting it go is probably the hard part. So let me give you a couple of like strategies to help you move through this hidden curriculum with a little more ease and a little less self-doubt, because this is just going to set you up for success, guys. And that's the magic word right there, success. And that's like the foundation that I stand on. So name what you're experiencing. That is one strategy you can do. When you can name it, you can navigate it. So if you are experiencing some kind of stress or some kind of hidden curriculum that's taxing you, name it so you can navigate it, right? Ask those, we all talk about the algorithm of like TikTok, of Facebook, of Instagram. We all talk about that, but ask those types of questions, right? Ask meta questions like, what is the priority here? What is the rationale behind this? These questions actually unlock the why behind the what. Okay? Because if you ask those type of questions, it might bring clarity to you or something where you can further question the findings that you're having in your head. And that hidden curriculum, by doing those types of things, that strategy helps you build your confidence. If you have a tough moment, and I just want to tell you, you're going to have a tough moment, at least one, if not add a couple zeros to that. Please do not judge yourself, but understand yourself. I have tough moments all the time. And I have to tell you guys, what I have come to realize is that my tough moments are given to me as a gift so that I can understand myself better. There's a lesson in every tough moment. And if you can break it down a little bit and say, okay, what am I meant to learn here? What is the rationale of why I'm experiencing this, why I'm being exposed to this, so that I can grow? Because remember, you are in a learning profession, right? You are not in a performing profession. You are in a learning profession. So growth is the goal. I want you to let go of perfection. Perfection is not the goal. I got to tell you, I love messing up. I know that's so. I'm a dental hygienist. I love messing up because the minute I mess up, my brain responds to failure so quickly. So when I mess up, I'm like, oh, yep, my bad. Okay, that won't happen again. I figured that one out. So let's move on. Knowing that my next mistake is probably literally just around the corner, one phone call or text or email away, or pretty much my next move. So it's literally how we live our lives. You have to build your support circle and know that you are not perfect. I actually look forward to the mistakes because I don't know why, but as a human, we do so much more learning and growth faster when we screw up. So I'm like, okay, bring on the next mess up because I'm probably looking forward to it because I really need to figure this out so I don't keep doing the same loop over and over. Because have you guys noticed that once you mess up and you figure it out, you grow through it and then you don't experience that thing, whatever that thing is that the universe was throwing in front of you repeatedly on repeat until it finally hits you in the forehead. Like, know that this is a learning profession. Know that you are not perfect and you are going to make mistakes, but look forward to them, guys. I can make a mistake in front of the entire school and all of my colleagues, and I'm still human at the end of the day. I am not perfect. And it doesn't matter, honestly, if you make a mistake in front of one person, your entire colleague community on the internet, it really doesn't matter because the lesson is still the same if you allow it to be that way. If you resist it, oh, guess what? You got to do it again. Who wants to do that, right? We don't really live long enough to repeat our mistakes. So, or want to repeat our mistakes. So just like own it. Like look for that next mistake around the corner and just kind of lean in on it. Know that it's going to happen and then you're going to be fine on the other side of it. Because if you're not growing, if you're not making mistakes, you're not trying hard enough. And I think that's why I make so many. I make so many because I'm like, I think I can just do anything. And so I try, even if I've never done it before. I'm like, oh, probably should have read the directions on that one. The problem is there aren't any directions because maybe it's never been done before. So I'm just trying it in a way that, whatever. So know that in dental hygiene school, this hidden curriculum, you have never done this before. Um, yeah. So, and there's only one you. So even if I'm teaching you and I'm telling you how to do it, you still have to navigate your own errors. You still have to navigate your own problems and failures. So I hate to tell you that, but that's part of the human experience, right? Which is so great. Just look at it a little bit differently, and it's going to open your eyes to the fact that this is what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be failing forward. This is what you're supposed to be doing. This is the hidden curriculum that sometimes we navigate well as humans, and sometimes we resist it, and it makes it really challenging. So, but I'm here to tell you guys, even though there's no written hidden curriculum, there's no compendium that tells us that this is what we have to teach, but that hidden curriculum is real, but it doesn't have to stay hidden. The more we talk about it, the more we normalize it. The more we normalize it, the more we empower you as a student. Okay? That is my goal because I want you to be okay with messing up. I want you to be okay with saying, well, I've never done this before. This is what I should expect myself to do. I should expect myself to make errors and ask questions and remain curious and not dwell, right? You'll do 20 things right, one thing wrong. And what is the focus? The one mistake. And that's just how we are as humans. I don't know why we're like that. That's not my area of expertise. I'm good at talking about it. I'm not good at diagnosing it. So that's where I stop. I'm not like a professional in brain chemistry and all of that good stuff. So, but I can tell you this. You are not behind. You are not alone, and you are not supposed to know everything yet. I know I don't. You are becoming, and that is the whole point. Okay, guys? If this episode sparks something for you, please share it with a classmate. Bring it to your next study group or use it as a conversation starter with your faculty. Let's make the hidden curriculum not so hidden anymore. Until next time, keep breathing, keep learning, and goodness gracious, keep flossing, guys. I'll see you soon.